I think that's what makes Portugal, and North Portugal specifically, unique from all those other places.
How can you compare US and Portugal then?
You would probably save money moving to Portugal from some other place. Home, almost impossible. But that is possible here. The government's going to get their money somehow. Europe in general is more balanced. Cost of food is very agreeable.
Does your wife cook this yet? No, it takes a lot of time.
And I've got the secret, but I'm not going to share it on camera.
I mean, looks like it's heaven. So here's the place where you have coffee your morning time.
Pastelaria Vanguard. Boa tarde.
Boa tarde.
Tudo bem? Queremos pasta de nata, por favor. Por favor, pastel de nata. Sim.
Por favor, tres.
Três.
Take away tres. Sim, tudo.
Sim. São 3 euros.
Com cartão, posso com cartão? Sim. Obrigado.
Senhora. Alex, don't run away with the dessert, man. So should we go to the house and
Yes.
have
Yeah.
our afternoon tea and our pastel de nata?
Right.
Take a
sure.
look around the house. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see your place.
So this property on the corner just sold. It's definitely a rehab opportunity. I don't know what they sold it for, but I would have loved to have had that one.
Wow.
You can see it's quite the opportunity, right? And it looks like that's a single house, right? Semi-detached.
Yeah, seems like one house. Sometimes they have two parts. So you see these stairs,
Right.
so they can separate for two families.
Okay, so there are still properties like this all along the coast between here and Porto,
Yes, yes.
and I find that they're not always advertised. They
I don't
may
know.
have a realtor representing them, but you won't
Depends.
find them on Idealista,
Yeah.
for example.
Probably they are not able to find the owner, for example.
Okay.
Or there are some another restrictions or problems or whatever, you know. So, yeah, you never.
So it's not only houses either. There's also maybe businesses or
Yeah.
just buildings that are not occupied.
I know that on the way to Vila Chã, they have a lot of factories abandoned, like free one, and they look really nice. A lot
Great
of
opportunities, yeah.
potential. Yes. Okay, Shad. So it's Vila Chã, right?
This
it's
is Vila Chã.
right between Porto and. Yeah, you can see a factory. You see?
Yeah, that would be just the Lessa, right? And
Yeah,
so
it's
they're
Lessa.
the shipping container. They would go here to take the containers off the ships
Okay.
and then back out to sea. So it's a port of commerce, and then just beyond those stacks, then that would be the mouth to the Douro, where we were earlier today, the river that goes into Porto.
Okay.
So you can, on a good day, you can see the mouth of the Douro from here.
Those beaches, they look very stunning and very wild.
Fantastic for surfing. No, I'm kidding.
Not here, right?
Not here, no. These rocks are pretty treacherous for sure. But people do kayak and people go out and swim. I go out into these waters as well. Surfing would be more towards Porto, but also north of us, just on the other side of Vila Chã. In Mindelo, there's a nice spot for surfing as well. And then Azarada, which is just before Vila Chã.
Yeah.
Fantastic surfing there as well. Yeah, but this is picturesque, right? I mean,
Yeah, very nice. I like the waves. You
Yeah.
know, it's a little bit windy today, but it looks awesome. This foam, you know, and colors.
there are a lot of waves, but these are actually rather small waves. When it gets very angry, the ocean, these waves can really crash up to here. You can see that the water will sometimes come all the way up to this
Right.
to this wall.
I mean, first of all, before we dive into the details, I can see and I can literally touch this ocean here. So it's like,
Yeah.
how we said, 500 meters, right? So it's just stunning, really.
And this is from street level, so yeah, the sunsets are amazing.
Yeah.
Even the sunrise, the lighting. I
See?
wake up every day and I get a chance to look out at the
Wow.
waves crashing. So it's a gift.
Do you know if someone is planning to build here something?
There are no plans. There are some developments still happening here, but as I know from talking with the other folks in the area, farmland is precious, and these are active farms, and so there are no immediate plans. to build in these particular fields. So, at least, and as you know, it takes 5 years sometimes.
Right.
And if we were to start a new development, it could be 10. So at least for the foreseeable future, this view is the way it's going to be.
Seems like no risk for now that someone will cover the view from...
Unlikely.
This on second floor, it's your bedroom, right?
Exactly.
With a balcony.
Exactly.
Okay, so you have just breathtaking view, just
Yeah.
amazing.
It's magical for sure.
Okay, can you share with us how much time did it take for you to get this house?
So we were very fortunate. We were renting just a few hundred meters from here, so we knew we loved the area, and thankfully our neighbors really like us because these properties were already sold and the new development's not being sold, but we were very curious as to who was building new homes in the area. We thought that might be an option for us. We had no idea how long it takes to build homes in Portugal, but it's actually a number of years. It's very different from the United States, where some houses can go up maybe in 9 months or something like this, or a year. But here it takes much longer, and part of that's concrete construction. So it's very durable, these homes. Our neighbors introduced us to the family that builds these homes. And it just so happened that a deal fell through and this one became available. And it was about 80% completed. And when we came here and saw the view, it was exactly as we would have drawn it up on paper. And then you go inside, it was also the open plan that we were looking for. So for us, it was just the perfect home at the perfect time.
So if someone, let's say in Canada or England, and they want to buy real estate, what's your main advice? I mean, should they take care of it really online, or is it better just to come to visit different areas first? I mean, if it takes so long time, right? I mean, in your case, of course,
Right.
it's different, right? But in general, what's your advice?
Yeah, everybody has their own comfort level, Alex. But for me, I couldn't imagine buying a property sight unseen or just over the internet. There's so many things that might not be revealed, and not even necessarily, on purpose. It's just for me being able to be there, walk in the area, the community, and get a feel for the neighborhood, the people, the amenities. You can't find all that online. You can't breathe the air online. And here on the coast, older homes, they can disguise odors because it's very humid here. And for me, it's very important to walk through and really appreciate the property you're getting. So I would, and the other side of that is, there are, even though it's a very, hot, let's call it a hotter market, historically, there's so many options here. I mean, this is one village of, maybe 100 along the coastline. And, we could go a few kilometers north and you have other options. So for me, it's, there's nothing like being in the area and getting out, walking, driving, and getting a feel for what's really there.
Yeah. So what about your house? What the size, amount of rooms? Maybe you can share the price range in this region near the ocean.
Sure. And so by the way, this home I wouldn't have found online because the builder doesn't advertise.
So they don't advertise. Okay.
I only met this builder through the neighbors.
Okay.
So we were very fortunate that way. The best way to learn about home prices here, so that's for me again, not being from here, I didn't know how to pull market comparables and these sorts of things. So all I could do was to consult with a real estate agent, our attorneys, our accountants, as to what their experiences were. And then we used like Idealista and other online sites to see what other homes were being listed as. And then we went into the negotiation with at least that amount of information. When we were searching, you could find homes in the area. Now, when I'm talking about homes, it could be flats, semi-detached villas. More rarely will you find a single home on land. That's more like a quinta or a farm. Yeah, that's a bit more rare in Portugal, and you usually have to go inland for that.
Quinta translation is basically it's like village house.
A village house.
Yeah.
On some land, you might have a little bit of a garden,
okay,
maybe an orchard or something,
okay,
with olive trees, right? So these are amazing, but they're not as common. And again, you have to go inland more to find more of those. But here in the village and the coastal, we were finding properties everywhere from 300,000 euros, up to 700,000-800,000 euros, depending on the size, the construction, the newness of the construction, right? And so, for example, this type of a home would fall kind of in the middle to the upper of that range.
pretty busy traffic here.
At certain times of the day,
Yeah.
yeah, you'll get more traffic here.
Yeah.
And so this is one of the only access roads into the beach from the mall that we came into.
Okay.
So you can expect that they're going to put speed limiters here. Once the construction's closed out, they'll start to slow the traffic down because there's a lot of young families here.
How far this location is from airport?
15 minutes,
Oh, really?
really.
So it's only one airport, main one in Porto?
It's an international airport.
Okay.
So it does fly, for example, to the United States and to North America, also to Canada. You can get direct flights. And for us, that was a bonus. It wasn't a must-have, but to be able to fly back with one flight and not have to connect to the East Coast was a real benefit for us.
Okay.
And as you don't really get the airplane noise. And when we lived in Los Angeles, we lived very near Los Angeles International. All day, the airplanes. But here, you can hear them maybe when you're at the mall, but here in the neighborhood, not so much.
Okay.
But you can hear the ocean waves.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So, do you mind if we tour your house?
No, I'd love to.
Yeah, let's
go
go.
check it out.
Let's go.
It's a low maintenance garden, right? For me, that was someone who still travels a lot. I didn't want to have a big yard.
Okay.
So while some, that might be not a benefit, for me, it was a benefit.
So, did you buy these trees, or it was part of development condition?
The developer has a base, in this particular condition, he had a base landscape that you could have. For example, the neighbors, they wanted grass, that was included. We added the trees.
Okay. Let's go next.
Let's do it. All right, let's go check out the inside. So open plan for sure, and this is something that we wanted. One of the things I loved about this builder, so he works with a basic footprint of homes, but within that footprint, he has 37 different designs. So in some models, you might have a bedroom downstairs. We chose to have more of an open living room so that you can kind of entertain. And so on nice days like today, we can open up the front, the back, and people could come and go, and it's very useful for entertaining guests.
Did you buy it furnished?
No, we actually designed it ourselves, and for the most part, we stuck to about 3 different design firms for the furniture.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some really good, furniture in Portugal, this is also different from in the United States. In Los Angeles, for example, when I moved into my studio, I went shopping at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I picked out my furniture. At 11:30 in the evening, the same evening, they were delivering and setting up my furniture.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing, right?
Okay, and here?
That's kind of a benefit. Here, well, we found that all the furniture is built to order. So to go into a shop and buy a piece and have it delivered, that wasn't a thing. And it took 6 to 8 weeks, for example, for the table to be built and then delivered and set up.
So you've been waiting almost 2 months for some things, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So the time scale is different, but knowing that my furniture was built here within, a few, maybe 100 kilometers, was actually kind of cool. And the ability for them to change the leg color or the type of wood. Like these were all options that we had. We liked the style, but we could change the configuration because they were going to make it.
So everything was designed in one company or in one brand, or did you hire someone?
We did the design ourselves, and we went to 3 different firms to buy the furniture. So, for example, the table, the dining table, and this piece in the kitchen, what we would call this, maybe like a storage cabinet of some sort.
Okay.
It has a more fancy name, I know.
Okay.
But this was from the same company, right? And our bed and our sofa was from another company. And then we bought accessories from various, stores throughout.
Okay, so let's continue.
Yeah, let's look at some of the features of the house. I mentioned we wanted to have a home that was, very conducive to entertaining guests. And so one of the things I love about this particular floor plan is that we have these doors that open from both ends, so you can get a lot of airflow, and people can kind of just come in and go as they might want for dinner gatherings and this sort of thing.
Right.
So very accessible. Folks can park. There's lots of street parking. They can come right up, hi, come right in, start mingling with each other, right? So.
And of course, ocean.
And they're looking at the ocean the whole time, yeah. That never gets old. So we designed, as I mentioned, we had designed kind of the layout of the home. When we came into the purchase process with this particular property, the layout, the floor layout was already done. So we didn't have a lot of choices there. But we did have choices, and if someone were to buy from the beginning of the process, they could not only pick the floor plan, but all the details such as the type of flooring, the paint color, even some of the wall configuration. Some of our neighbors chose, instead of having this open area here in the dining area, they chose to close that off and have a storage closet so they can put bikes and surfboards. You know, we have a very active lifestyle community here, so a lot of surfers and bikers and hikers and this sort of thing. So we use our garage for that, but others who might park their car in there would like this as a storage, for example. We had the option to select the heating and air systems, so we went with the Hitachi system. We have one unit downstairs and one upstairs. And if we were to travel, we can control these virtually, so it gives airflow even if we're not here. We thought that was an important touch. Even though you really don't need heating and air here, because the temperature is pretty even year round. In the US, it might be, in this time of year, 60 or 50, high 50s, low 60s.
Right.
In the summertime, it's 70s, low 80s. It never fluctuates really more than 20 degrees in US temperatures. So, yeah, this is the living room, the living area, and again, open. I love that, we have these ceiling to floor glass windows. We also have a built-in shade system, so we can actually lower the shade. And upstairs, we even have the security system, so it completely blacks out. If you don't want any sound or any view, you can get that sort of privacy as well, just with a few clicks of the button.
Did you install security system and sound system, light system by yourself, or it's all included in?
You can do either. We did it ourselves. You can also have fully monitored security systems here in Portugal. There's a couple of different companies. You can even get that through your cable provider, I believe. Of course, we also have a protection dog as well, so we have extra security in our home. It's not necessary, but it's something that this is a very safe neighborhood. It's also a very safe country, and when you compare it to places that I've lived in the past, it's not even a comparison. Crime here is maybe petty thief occasionally. We've had no problems in this neighborhood. These neighbors tend to look out after each other. There's a lot of vacation homes here, so they have a lot of management companies that come through and monitor those homes. But the neighbors who live here, we're very close and we're constantly looking after each other.
Can you share with us the cost of management of condominium fees, right?
We don't have any.
Okay, so you take care about everything.
In our home, there's no additional condominium fees in this property.
Okay. I saw that you have backyard. Maybe we can have a look.
Yeah, let's go.
I was wondering if you have swimming swimming pool.
A swimming pool. So our neighbors do.
Okay.
We opted not to. That was another configuration aspect that we had to decide, is what do we want the backyard to look like. So again, we wanted to have a home that was maximizing the entertainment potential. So we have people come over for dinners and these sorts of things. So we created more of an indoor-outdoor living space. So especially on days like today when the sun comes out and you've got a nice breeze, you could have people mingle in different parts of the house. We also thought it was important to have a full bathroom downstairs. So we have a bathroom with a full shower here in the downstairs, as well as a laundry room that's dedicated.
So we have 2 bathrooms or 3?
3 bathrooms in the house.
Okay, so
2
it's
upstairs.
service and 2 upstairs for bedrooms. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Here's our kitchen. So everything here was by our design. The cabinets were already basically selected, but we could have chose any color or any other additional configuration. It also has an embedded refrigerator in the cabinet system. It's not quite a full American-sized refrigerator, but it's bigger than maybe a traditional European refrigerator. It has an actual refrigerator and a freezer section. We'll open that up. We added the island. This was something that my wife she absolutely wanted this. The original design just called for an open kitchen, and she absolutely wanted an island. So we added that as well as the lighting.
I like the color, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Very ocean one.
Yeah. That's the theme. And of course, here's the refrigerator and the freezer. And for, a family of 4, or it's just my wife and I, we have plenty of space.
So the kitchen was done by developers, so
They selected the cabinets,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So backyard.
Yeah. And so it flows right. Also the same ceiling to floor windows in the kitchen. We also have them in the master bedroom. So the idea is to get a lot of light in the house. Again, I like the light and the sunny days. So That's my happy place. So we chose standard. You get a small landing space, literally this much, and then the rest is grass.
Oh, okay.
We really wanted to have a nice backyard barbecue, someplace to eventually put a nice table. Maybe I could work outside in the nice weather as well. So that's our next purchase, is to find a nice table for this area so that I can sit and work, and maybe we can have dinner outside on the table. But as I mentioned, it's very traditional, at least in my experience in Portugal, to have an outside barbecue. And they don't go small portable. They oftentimes will have something like this where it's very permanent. In some of the more traditional homes, and the one we rented in had something like this, and we were very lucky that there's a company that builds these just down the road, and so we stopped in and took a look around. They had one that was traditional, but it had this modern design to it, and I knew this was the one I had to have for the home.
Do you feel privacy here? I mean, neighbors are here around, so how do you feel?
How do you feel?
I feel pretty private now.
Yeah.
Really. Do they live here? I see it's closed. Probably family is living here.
Family lives here to the left. This is a holiday home to my immediate right. We've been here for a few months now, and I've seen them 2 times. I mean, literally 2 days.
Okay.
Of 3 months' time. So, and that's the neighborhood, right? The entire neighborhood's like that. In the summer, it's fully, there's people everywhere, but just for the month and a half. This time, in the rest of the year, it's maybe 50, 70%. And even those who are here full time, a lot of folks work, so you don't really see them all the time. They come and go. And so I feel like I have enough privacy, but I also have people so that I have that community as well. I don't feel isolated.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Do you like to clean this stuff? I mean, is it hard to clean?
No, I've learned that you can take a brush and a little detergent, like just some powdered soap that you would use in laundry, and brush it off, and then with the hose, and it's completely...
I found out that probably even in the rent apartment, your previous one, they had almost everywhere, it's their style.
Yes.
They don't like the small...
No, I think granite is mined here in Portugal. Is this true, Antonio? Yes. Yeah, so this is...
Especially in the north of the country.
Yes, so this is again a natural local product.
Yeah.
And it was a father and son. So the son runs the design room.
Okay.
And the father does the construction, but he brings his son as well. And they have a few helpers, but like 3 people to bring this massive thing into the backyard and put it together. I was so impressed. And they were so friendly, so nice, you know, taking pictures. They loved it here, so they were taking pictures for their marketing, and I thought that was fantastic.
Do you have any ideas about this place?
So
this corner?
So we have a dog, and for us to have some grass in the garden was important for him. Now, later on in life, might there be a pool here? Perhaps, perhaps. Our neighbor right here, he does have a pool, and you know, when I look out the window at his pool, I'm like, oh, how nice would it be to have a pool?
Do you know if you should pay any taxes if you install a real pool here?
That is the consideration. I understand that if you put in a swimming pool that's in ground, that is again one of these luxurious items, and the consumption of the water, etc., it does add additional taxes.
Do you know the number?
I don't know. I don't know. No, I guarantee if we do a video follow-up, I will, because that will be a big decision factor for me whether I do or not. Because I can go to the ocean. I don't need a pool.
Yes.
I can always go down to the ocean and jump in as well. I did want to point out the floor system here. We have a dog, and it's a big dog, and so having wood floors it's a trade-off, right? We wanted wood, but we wanted low maintenance, so we have an engineered wood floor here, and he can drop a bone, or I can drop a brick, and it's not going to harm this floor.
What's the name of the brand?
That I do not know. I wish I knew. But it's
okay, so it was pre-chosen, right?
The builder works with a supply.
Okay,
now you can select colors,
right.
so it won't be the same color in every house.
Yeah.
So you can select the color, and we like this warm sort of natural wood look.
Oh, I remember that you shared with me some time ago that the developer has his friend close, and he's doing this stuff, right? They have a factory around in this area.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Yeah, the family that builds these homes, they've been here for 30, 40 years. They've been building homes for 30, 40 years. The family's been here much longer. And so he has a very, strong network of people that are trade specialists. And I think this is something to consider if someone wanted to come in and do their own rehabilitation. For me, I've done that in the past, and I actually enjoy that process. And it is a way that some people will make maybe a generous profit on their properties soon. For me, I didn't know the country that well, and I don't have those connections here. So for me, that was just too much risk up front. Later on, I might be more interested in doing that as I meet more people. But coming into the country new, that wasn't something I wanted to take on. I wanted to kind of relax a little bit more.
Yeah. By the way, do you know if Americans are allowed here to get the mortgages?
Oh, great question on the mortgage. So yes, the short answer is yes. And like the residency, a lot has to do with your income in terms of your eligibility. What was unique for me here in Portugal that I hadn't experienced in the United States before is that the duration or the term of the mortgage is tied to your age. So for someone who's in their 20s or 30s, they have a much longer period. They might get a 40-year loan, for example. Someone who's in their 50s, you're maybe only going to get 15 or 20 years. So it's tied to, I believe, the age of 72 perhaps, or 70, in terms of the duration of your loan. Also, if you're not a citizen, the amount of down payment in a mortgage it increases as well. And I think it's to the range of about 10%. Not 10% down, but 10% more than say a citizen. I think the percentage down was 35, maybe up to 40, depending on your income status.
Do you know how many banks are working with foreigners?
Wow, I know there's more than a few, because we used a mortgage broker, and he essentially took our circumstances and shopped it out to multiple banks and brought us back like the best deals that we could choose from. We could have done that ourselves, and we actually had a relationship with the bank already, but that was new for us, and we thought, oh, this is sounds interesting.
Right.
There was no obvious price to us. As I understand it, their compensation comes from the back end. They're like acting as a sales agent, if you will, I guess, for the banks. So sure, and sure enough, he brought back competitive rates, even better than what I would have been able to get on my own. So I thought it was worthwhile to use this mortgage broker. And again, every person I meet in the country, Alex, when you engage in this relationship, it's more than about just that transaction. So the next thing, you're sharing favorite wines and favorite places to visit, and in my experience, people are opening up their homes to come visit. Even so, you're building a community, right? In these transactions. It's still a transaction. It's still business, but it's also an opportunity to make new friends. And I feel that way about the people that have helped us make this transition, that they are now more than just business associates. They're also, kind of our sponsors in a way, our friends into the country.
So how did you feel? What was your experience in working with financing with banks here?
That was challenging, because again, my experience, particularly with lenders, is they want you to sign the note quick. Like, don't even worry about the paperwork, just sign. We're going to get you the money. It's going to be okay. And I understand the reason behind that is once you're obligated, they're going to get their money. They have security, they have property. That was not my experience here whatsoever. The process was, again, very paper driven. Like we want, just like the visa requirements, right? We want 3 copies of everything. We want it certified. And that was unusual, for sure. It took a lot of paperwork in the process. The time was extended very long. Even after we agreed on the bank we wanted the loan from, it took weeks and almost into a month. And even up the day of closing, we were still hustling to get the right things, the check to close. There's monies due, and the bank was closing at noon, but the appointment was at 2, but nobody said anything until 11, it was this kind of process. So that was very frustrating in the process, but in the end, it was okay. It was fine.
So how much time it takes in your case?
The whole process, man, it was weeks. A month.
So before,
and then the closing itself was all afternoon with the attorneys. It was a lot of, and we took a translator as well. That was a requirement. So that was on our dollar. So we had to hire our translator to come and help translate all the documents so that we knew exactly what we were signing. and what our obligations were. Oh, one other additional thing that was new for us was the mortgage companies here in Portugal require that you have a life insurance on the home. So I carry a life insurance anyway, but that's not good enough. It has to be for them specifically. And the point is, if one of us were to pass away, that the other person wouldn't become homeless. And I thought to myself initially, well, that's just making money on money. That's, that's just the financial company squeezing you. But I actually do see some of the wisdom in that. If you look at, the situations where people could end up out of their home, this is a likely scenario for people. And to have the wisdom to require that, I became at peace with it, even though at first I was a little put off by it.
So can you share with us general steps of getting mortgage for any foreigner?
Yeah.
General idea, you find the house, right?
Yeah.
What's the document you need to get from the developer to apply for a credit, right?
Right. So there's a contract, right, between the seller and the buyer.
Promissory, or
something along these lines, right? Essentially, it's the paperwork that's saying you are buying the property, because you haven't actually bought it. So it's basically a sales contract, if you will, or a promissory note that you're going to buy, and that typically comes with it some amount of deposit. I found that that's negotiable. It can be, I don't know what the upper limits are, but it could be quite a bit for a house that's 80% done. And, I would suppose that people could ask for 80% of the price. I don't know. It wasn't that much for us. We negotiated it down quite a bit because we were new to the country, we were new to everything. This particular builder, again, I think was exceptionally generous to us, again, because we were introduced by other people from the community. And so there was, I think, a degree of trust that was afforded us that maybe anybody that's just flying in for the first week or so would probably not have. And so we were able to negotiate it because we weren't sure. We didn't even know whether the bank would give us a loan, but we knew we wanted the house.
Yeah.
Right? So we were just very upfront with the builder as to our situation. Of course, I'm sure he's checking that with the people that were introducing us to him, because you're getting to know each other. That's establishing trust. And anyway, he gave us that ability. So then we started the process when we had the agreement as to this is the price we will buy the house for, and we transferred the deposit to him so that there's records, there's receipts of these things. Then we were able to approach the banks and say, this is the property we want to buy. And then involving the bank versus doing an all cash transaction, for me it ended up being really the right thing for my peace of mind. Again, being new to the country, what are your rights? These are a lot of questions. I just, what if the deal goes bad and you have to go, kind of get a mediator? I had no idea what that process was. It would be a huge mistake to assume that the rules that we follow in California or the United States are the same rules as here would apply. That would be such a huge mistake. And so this allowed us the time to figure out the process. And the bank made sure that certain things were done,
right,
that a cash buyer may or may not, take the time to do. The bank requires a full inspection. It requires the full, transfer of deed. There's all these legal things that they make sure they're going to get their money, right? And so they're just another level of protection for the buyer. And so we chose to go that route as opposed to maybe try to buy something with cash or something like that. Plus, it's a lot of money to move into a new community if you're not really sure you're going to be there long term. So for us, having a mortgage with a respectable bank was an important decision.
Okay. Did you evaluate this house personally?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We walked through it a couple of times, and we were absolutely impressed with it in the first visit. And it wasn't this, right? It was still concrete walls. The walls were not finished. So behind these walls are metal studs and some insulation, and then there's concrete and all of the wiring and plumbing of the house. It was still in that stage. The windows were just going in. So it wasn't quite in this finished state, which was good as well because we could kind of see the quality of the construction. But it was still a gamble, how long will it really? He says it's going to be a month or two. Is it going to be 5 or 6? Or it's a lot of stuff to take in.
How you can check developer here in Portugal if it's trustworthy or not?
For me, it was the neighbors. It was this guy says this was a beautiful thing. When I met him, he was very proud of his community because he grew up here. This is his community. And so naturally people should know him, right? Well, when I go to the restaurants, my landlord, my neighbors, they knew who he was. And when I go to the restaurant, even into the town next to here in Vila Chã, even those people knew who he was. So, okay, he's a known person. And everybody smiles when you talk about him. So for me, this was a good sign, right? If you say, hey, Alex is in it, and Alex, if you get this sort of reaction, you probably shouldn't do the deal. But everyone I talked to about the builder was, yeah. They know this guy, his family's been here, they're doing these homes, yes. So that for me was all the right indicators that we were dealing with good people. So let's go check out the upstairs. Oh, one thing I love, and it's a nice design touch as well. So it is marble floor, so this is extremely durable, easy to keep clean. But I love these little spotlights that they put to accent as we're coming up, especially at night when you get up and you maybe want to, it could save you some serious headache. Okay, so I say let's start with the guest room first, right? And then we'll work our way to the big reveal.
Right.
So on the upstairs floor, we have 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. When you come straight up the stairs, we have what we just call like the community bath, right? So it's just me and my wife. So we kind of share, we split the bathrooms.
Okay.
She gets the bigger, of course. And we had the bathtub, by the way. The standard for this home was just a shower. We had them add the bathtub. And that was quite the ordeal because the concrete was already laid. So there was some concrete breaking involved in that. And that took a little bit of extra time.
Okay.
But that was something that was very important to us. And the builder was happy to do that. So our guest room also serves as a secondary office because both my wife and I, we do work from home on occasion. So she and I have kind of a divided space. She can work in here and be in peace, and I can do my work from my office. Yeah, and we have family that come. I can say this about our time in Portugal. We've had more visitors here in Portugal since we've been here in the first year than we've had anywhere else we've lived. It's not even close. I think every month we've had a visitor.
It's just a blessed land.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of interest in Portugal too. It's amazing. We enjoy it because again, we love to entertain. So here's the office. This is where it happens.
The magic happens
here.
here.
This is it. So when you ask me, Shad, what do you do? How do you earn a living in Portugal? It happens here. A lot of the filmmaking business is on location. And so when we shoot productions, we're going to the location that the story demands. So there's a lot of travel. But the pre-production, building up the interest in the movie or the series that we're building, that's a lot of phone conversations. It's a lot of networking, and that anymore is all virtual.
And it's just a long process. It just takes time, so you can work out for a month here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I'm 15 minutes from the airport, so if I need to fly somewhere, it's a quick business trip. Then if we're out on location, we close everything up, we go do our business, and we come back, and now it's post-production. So everything again is virtual.
Right.
And so we have a whiteboard to keep the planning sessions going. And yeah, as you can tell, I do a lot of reading and a lot of research. So.
Do you practice it?
I do practice. I do practice the guitar. That's my relaxation hobby. People are like, do you perform for a living guitar? No, because then it's work. So this is my hobby. Even in the backside, you still get an ocean view.
Yeah.
We won't be able to show it on camera because of the construction, but you can still see that the builders were kind enough to leave this avenue where you can still see the horizon with the ocean. Yeah, and the trade-off in this development, you can see their backyards are quite bigger.
Yeah.
So we get the very premium ocean view from the front, but again, I think this is just what a generous builder to kind of balance and say, look, for those who are on the back side of the view and may not get as much, we're going to give them more of a yard space. I thought that was a very generous offer and thoughtful of the developer to do that.
Look, in case of any emergency, or I know that developers usually give you like 5 years warranty or maybe even more. Mm-hmm. In case of emergency, where will you call or whom?
Oh, the developer, for sure. And as we moved in, there are little things always. He was so kind, even for the movers that bring in furniture. He knew that there were going to be scuffs on the wall. So I asked him initially, hey, could you leave some extra paint? And because I want to touch up. He's like, oh, no. I'll send the painters out when that happens. So just call me. So yeah, we communicate via WhatsApp, and if there's little things, it's no problem. He brings the crew, especially because they're still working on other things. He'll bring them in to fix them.
So they're sold with this area?
This is completely sold.
Okay.
And now everybody, as of Christmas, everyone's moved in. So he had a very busy December. and the new, I think the new construction he's now started to focus on just down the road.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm waiting for
Next
this.
room, the big reveal. Okay.
This crazy view from your bedroom. Finally.
For sure. Ah, the master bed. So this was for us. It was the closing deal. It has an ensuite. I like to call it a walk-in closet. It has the his and her side. But the beauty of this place is when I wake up in the morning and I rise up from that pillow, immediately the sun is coming in this window, and you can go out that one if you'd like, Alex. Feel free. I'll meet you in the middle.
Oh, it was.
You got it.
Oh, sorry, it was open before.
There you go.
It's okay.
I mean, for us, this was the deal closer. To be able to sit up here and maybe have a cup of coffee or
Yes.
to dream about what we're going to do, next chapter. This is the ideal place to do it.
So all of this is cornfields, right? Or it's only grass? Yeah.
It's onions, I think, at the moment, or
Okay.
garlic, but it will be also corn. Yeah, they rotate their crops there.
Oh, sunset is coming.
The sunsets are absolutely amazing.
So
there's not a lot of downside.
Yeah.
No, not a lot of downside.
Sun goes from this side, so you see it actually where?
Yeah, this is east. So in the morning, it's coming up just on this side of the tree at this time of the year. But eventually the sun will track. So by summer, the sun will actually sit over behind the house here. So the backyard gets more in the summer than it does in this time of the year.
Oh, it's a very nice house, very nice story. I'm wondering, what about your next plans? And you've been here more than a year.
Yeah.
So what is your conclusion about Portugal? Maybe let's have Nata and just summarize today's video, right?
I like your thinking. Let's go do that.
Let's go. Shad, what is Portugal for you now?
What's Portugal for me now? Portugal for me now is home. Yeah, after all those miles and all those, places that I visited, this is the place that feels most like home.
How can you describe this land?
Wow.
After being here for a while,
Yeah. So everywhere I go in the country, I think there's this rich tradition, right? There's a pride of place, but not to the exclusion of others, right? Like I think sometimes when we get too prideful of a place, we don't want other people to be a part of it, right? It's ours. And I don't get that vibe here. I get this vibe that Portugal is a land of people that have experienced traveling themselves, a history of travel. For people that study history, part of that's economic. Some of that's adventure. For sure, those two words, they apply for me as well. Like I'm here in one part for adventure, like a new chapter and new experiences in life, but also for inspiration, economic inspiration. I don't believe in being in a place and just consuming. And for me, it's very important that we give back to our community and be a part of our community. So for me, what's next in Portugal is finding out what that is. Connecting with folks like you and helping you figure out your dreams and aspirations and helping you achieve them any way I can. I think that's what we owe each other, right, as neighbors.
Right.
Is how can we help each other to achieve our dreams together. So that's the next part for me here.
So do you have already your plans for next 1-2 years? Do you want to travel inside Portugal, maybe Europe, or what are the plans? What is the next chapter?
Yeah, did Antonio get the whiteboard when we were upstairs?
Yeah, I didn't read.
Good. It's on the whiteboard. Yeah, this is every January I take a reflection on the prior year, right? Like, what happened? What was expected? What was completely unexpected? What might be the new thing I'm called to do? For sure, I've shared with so many people, like one of my goals is to actually, as a performer, is to perform here in Portugal. I already did it for Christmas. I sang downtown. See, it manifested and I wasn't even planning that. As a performer, I actually want to film here. I want to tell stories that are authentic to here, but I want to do that behind the camera, but also in front of the camera, which is require I learn the culture, I learn the language, right, the movements, to do that authentically. So this is kind of a stretch goal I have for myself, is to be creative here in Portugal, tell a story that's uniquely Portuguese, and be a part of that.
Yeah. That's a real integration, you know?
Yeah.
Let's taste this nada. It was awesome interview. Thank you very much for being part of this. It's amazing, really.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, Alex. It's been fun, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Okay, so let's try.
All right. Celebrate a good day.
Yeah, I like that, you know?
Salud.